Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Statesman Podcast. This is where we digest the Zimbabwean political issues. If you are also into regional and global political issues, this is your platform. So, to those who have been here for the first time, please, can you do us a favor and subscribe and like the video? That is, if you like it. So, let's get into it. Today, I'm going to start by summarizing a conspiracy theory that suggested that a group of 12 men from Belarus arrived in Harare, and their mandate was to carry out assassination. I want to prevent use the term intelligence because I don't know how true this is, and my reaction when I first saw the report, it was just nothing more than a conspiracy theory. And this was reported by a guy called Tagwirei. So I will mix that with the rebuttal that came from the Herald, and then my analysis of the theory that suggests that Tagwirei is behind this conspiracy. I will conclude by my reaction to Patrick Chinamasa's post on Tagwirei's acceptance into the Central Committee. And please note that this post was posted on X and then it was deleted. And it was posted again in the thick of the night. And what do I make of that? Right, so let me take you back to early hours of a seemingly quiet morning at Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport. It was 2:30 a.m. when an unscheduled flight requested an emergency clearance to land. This wasn't your usual arrival. The aircraft was discreetly escorted to a secluded ramp well away from public view. So 12 men stepped out, all of them Eastern Europeans, reportedly from Belarus. No immigration war, no press, no protocol, just blacked out SUVs. The same type linked to Tagwirei, the same type of vehicles linked to Tagwirei, waiting to quietly drive them off to the Hyatt Regency Hotel, your Mikos Hotel. It's now called the Hyatt Regency Hotel to those who haven't been to Zimbabwe in a long time and who haven't been following economic events in Zimbabwe. Now, here's the context. Tagwirei, who is also known as KT, and I'm going to refer to him as KT in the following presentation. He had recently made aggressive moves to try and secure a position in ZANU-PF's Central Committee, but that bid was blocked. First by General Chiwenga, who pushed him out actually from Central Committee meeting a few weeks ago. Then by Obed Mpov, who issued a circular that basically ended the campaign for him. Maybe 2 weeks ago, I think, that's when the circular was released. And in what men took as a final blow, Christopher Mchangwa, he mocked Tagwirei during his last press briefing, speaking in his position as the spokesperson of the party. So with that route shut down, a new plan is reportedly been set in motion. And according to Tagwirei, what we are possibly witnessing is the opening act of a more sinister plan B: manufacture a national crisis, suspend the constitution, and illegally extend President Mnangagwa's term of office. Those allegedly the men that are supposed to be heavily involved with this plan have been promised top roles in this scheme, and these people include Jacob Mudenda, Justice Minister Ziyambi, Attorney General Virginia Mabiza, and of course, Yawikina Uchivayo. Now, the arrival of the Belarusians, that is being viewed as the trigger, the activation phase of the whole plan. And this Belarusian squad is also linked to the assassination, but officially people died of COVID, of our former generals who had now joined politics, notably Sibusiso Moyo, Parents Shiri, and Paradise Mond. But we know and we are aware that there are many people who did die during that period. So, according to Tagwirei, these people are linked, the Belarusians, they are linked as to have been the individuals or the group that acted on it, that assassinated your generals. Now, who is believed to have sent them? And it's none other than Alex Zingman or Zingman, Belarus's honorary consul to Zimbabwe. He is no stranger to controversy. This guy is allegedly an expert in poisons and political eliminations. His name has been linked to the mysterious death of key military and political figures in Zimbabwe between 2020 and 2021, like I mentioned, all of whom were officially declared COVID deaths. But Zingman's entanglement with the Zimbabwe runs deep. He even represented Zimbabwe at COP29, the UN climate conference. Now, despite having no background in climate science, instead of sending our own capable technocrats from the Ministry of Environment, we had a foreign fuel trader representing us. Probably that's where the connection between him and Tagwirei comes from, probably because Tagwirei is also probably the biggest fuel trader in Zimbabwe. At one time, he was the biggest fuel trader. I'm not sure if he's still involved in fuel trading. And Zingman's oil company contributes to the very emissions that are meant to be reduced by United Nations climate change conferences. It doesn't add up. And it doesn't stop there. Zingman has been linked to arms trafficking in the DRC. More recently, suspicious dealings also in Kenya. Now, I'll be honest with you. This wasn't the story that I initially wanted to touch. That is until the Herald, the state-controlled newspaper, suddenly responded with a full-page rebuttal. You know, if something is nonsense, you do not sanitize it by responding to it. You just let it be because it's wildly off the mark. But rebutting it, that leaves a lot to be desired. And the Herald claimed that the 12 Belarusians were a part of a high-level Russian delegation meeting the Minister of Finance, Mthuli Ncube, to discuss financial cooperation. They even referenced Mthuli's recent trip to Moscow. The Herald insisted this was all about economic development. Nothing shared here. Move along. But let's be real. Let's say, for example, if JP Morgan or any credible bank had sent representatives to Zimbabwe, they would be named, celebrated even, yet not a single name of a reputable investor or a banker was mentioned. The article then tried to do damage control. Oleg Vochits, okay, I don't know how to pronounce these Belarusian surnames, but you can see it on the screen, I'm sure. Reportedly, part of the delegation, he denied everything. He said neither he nor Zingman were part of any plot, and that Zingman was on vacation with his family, that he is just a dedicated businessman working to attract investment. The allegations of arms deals in DRC were false. And then the so-called investigation into Zingman in Congo, merely a routine personality check. But Zingman was arrested in Congo some months ago. He was arrested on allegations of illegal arms dealing. And this is the man who is deeply entangled in Zimbabwe. And Oleg himself, he also confirmed that he came to Zimbabwe when these 12 men came, but he said he came later. And that looks suspicious, definitely. Now, look, you can decide what to believe, but ask yourself, why did the plane land in the middle of the night? Why were these men taken away in secret? I'm saying this provided the information or the report by Taona is accurate. Why were these men taken away, whisked away in secret? And why is Zimbabwe being represented internationally by individuals with no official mandate? And people of controversial backgrounds. Something doesn't add up. And it's worth keeping our eyes open, because these aren't just shared business deals. These could be early stages of a dangerous political gambit with consequences far beyond the headlines. Now, Alexander Zingman and Oleg Vochis, their ties with Zimbabwe, as I said, they run deep. At the center of the conspiracy is Alexander Zingman and Oleg. Their own company, which is called Aftrade DMCC, which in its trade history has exported 1,458 units. This is on their website. One unit was exported to Ghana of the 1,458, and 19, which represents 0.07% of their trade, was shipped to Ghana, and 19 export shipments to Kenya, and that represents 1.3% of their trade. And the balance of 1,438 shipments were to Zimbabwe, and this represents 98.63% of its trade. This is economically unnatural, unless Zimbabwe is the only client of the company, which makes it a shell or a front company for a deeper network. And this company, which is it raises questions: is it a legitimate supplier, or just the middleman in a grand scheme of geopolitical corruption that is taking place? Which, with Zimbabwe's leadership frequently flying to Minsk and the Belarusian machinery flooding Harare and Zimbabwe, who is really benefiting from these transactions? Will it be far-fetched to assume that probably Zingman is just a middleman, but this company is actually owned by Zimbabweans? Because there is a disproportionately high volume of shipments from Aftrade to Zimbabwe. Now, this raises red flags, a lot of them within the context of state capture, kleptocracy, and geopolitical alignment of authoritarian regimes. Aftrade DMCC is a Belarusian company, but it is registered in Dubai. And Dubai is a jurisdiction frequently used as a financial haven due to limited transparency issues and light regulatory oversight from the authorities. Belarus itself is a sanctioned country. Authoritarian regimes under President Alexander Lukashenko with strong ties to Russia. Dubai provides a convenient offshore vehicle for companies that want to shield ownership structures, move money discreetly, or avoid scrutiny. But also, guess what? The other Zimbabwean guy who's linked to Dubai, Paul Temta Tungwarara, the guy who has been giving people thousands of dollars in the guise of supporting war veterans, etc., etc., etc. And the guy is a special advisor to the president for Dubai region. Now, I'm not an investigative journalist, but if I was an investigative journalist, this is something that was worth looking into. Now, let's move to the Tagwirei theory. Is it possible, is it plausible that Tagwirei is the one who is responsible for all of this happening? Now, Tagwirei has become, I'm trying to make sense out of it, and this is how I'm going to do it. Let me begin by saying Tagwirei has become desperate. If the above is correct to say it's Tagwirei who is involved and that the report by Taona is accurate, it shows, and it will show that Tagwirei has become desperate. His failure to buy his way into the ZANU-PF Central Committee shows his money can't override the military's gatekeeping role. The military gatekeeps the powerful positions in ZANU-PF. Bringing in foreign operatives suggests a shift towards COVID force-based Plan B. It is plausible that Tagwirei planned to remove Chiwenga because Chiwenga is blocking his political ascension. Mnangagwa is aging and he is losing influence, People seems like a lot of powerful people within ZANU-PF are tilting towards Chiwenga. Even we have seen members, if you are following exactly what's going on, there are members even in government bureaucrats. What we have, a lot of them have tilted towards Chiwenga. You can talk of Joy Charamba, you don't hear him say anything in support of Tagwirei. And many other smaller line directors within government, they seem to have tilted their rhetoric towards supporting Chiwenga, because constitutionally 2028 Mnangagwa is a goner. So this is open season now for succession politics. So people need to choose which faction they belong to. If you make a wrong move come 2028, you are also a goner. Right. Chinamasa's message then, I'm now shifting now to Comrade Chinamasa. He sent a message on X some hours ago, about more than a day ago, and he deleted the message later on. And after deleting the message, this morning at 1:58, that is 2 minutes to 2, that was during the thickness of the night, he resent the message. It's not because he was sleeping or he had a late night sleep, but according to Taona, they had a meeting in Newlands. So after that meeting, then Chinamasa reposted the message. And what do I make of the contents of that message and all the nuances around the messaging and the timing, the posting, deleting, and reposting again? So let's talk about the political message that says more between the lines than on the surface. A statement by ZANU-PF Secretary for Legal Affairs, Patrick Chinamasa, which was posted, deleted, and then reposted. That alone should tell you this isn't business as usual. Something's going on in ZANU-PF. Something is building up. Now, at the heart of it is Tagwirei, the billionaire businessman closely linked to President Emmerson Mnangagwa, whose controversial co-option in the ZANU-PF Central Committee sparked internal drama in ZANU-PF and public debate also. So Chinamasa's message attempts to settle the matter. It's attempted to settle the matter, declaring it as closed, legitimate, and undeserving of criticism. But here's what is really going on, in my educated opinion. Chinamasa walks us through the procedural side, how the Harare province recommend, and mind you, this is just my initial reaction. This is something that just came up now, so I'm trying to make sense out of it within a short space of time, but understand these things, they develop quickly. Sometimes they take time to develop and circumstances change. So sometimes that may also lead to us changing as scientists, changing our positions also when new facts come out, new evidence comes out. But on the face of what we have now and what we have seen now, I think Chinamasa is taking us through the procedural side of things in his message. And the message, if you want to see it, please go on his X handle, Chinamasa PA, and then you actually see the whole message. And on the procedural side of things, he narrates how Harare province recommended Tagwirei, how the Politburo approved it with no objections, and how the minutes were confirmed, even under the chairmanship of, we mentioned this, of Vice President Chiwenga. On the surface, he is just citing rules and minutes, but politically he is doing something much deeper than that. He is cornering the faction that opposed Tagwirei by saying, you were there, you signed this off, why are you now pretending there is a problem? This message is a strategic power move, packaged as a legal clarification. Chinamasa is defending Tagwirei's rise and signaling to the party the decision stands and we are not backing down. And make no mistake, this is about succession. Tagwirei's growing influence poses a threat to the military-aligned faction linked to Chiwenga. The internal pushback against co-option wasn't just about rules. It was about who controls the future of the party, ZANU-PF. Chinamasa doesn't stop there. He reminds everyone that he has been in the Central Committee since 1987, that this is the first time that the co-option has caused controversy, and that, in his words, some people clearly have an axe to grind. Then comes the closing proverb, and I quote, "Those with eyes, let them eye. Those with ears, let them hear." That is not just poetic, it's a message to insiders. We see what is happening. Yes, we see it. We see what is going on here. And you should too. But if anyone knows Chinamasa, this proverb, he has been saying this for the longest time. I attended one public lecture where Chinamasa was one of the speakers, or one of the guest speakers. That was back in 2010, 2011, thereabout. And he was saying this proverb. And up to now, he still says this proverb. And after each and every message that he posts on X, I reckon he also posted this. But it may have also a meaning in the context of what is happening right now in this messaging in terms of the succession battle. So for me, it's not just poetic in this case. It's a message to insiders. We see what is happening, and you should also see what is happening. And the fact that this statement was posted, deleted, and then reposted, that's a political signal of its own. It tells us there is a fierce push and pull behind the scenes. It's not just a document, it's a battlefield. In short, what looks like a legal statement is actually a defiant warning shot in the ZANU-PF civil war. Tagwirei is rising, and this was Chinamasa's way of drawing a line in the sand. Watch the space, because succession battles like this, they rarely end with press releases. They rarely end with ex-posts. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I reiterate, if this is your first time on this platform, please do us a favor. We are targeting 2,000 subscribers, so subscribe, like, and share. Thank you so much. See you on the next episode.